Hey guys, thanks for checking out the podcast. Before we get started, I want to remind you about the very cool bucket list trip I am doing in 2026, the Smitty Learns Irish podcast, where I'm going to do my bucket list, hike Ireland for a year, learn about Irish history, town by town, through the mouths of the pub owners and regulars. Because what's a better way to learn about something you love than to experience it yourself? Patreon.com/we3Smiths, only $3 a month, and thanks for checking it out. What the hell, everything? And a happy what the hell everything for the week of November 22nd, 2021. It's Thanksgiving week. It's going to be a fucking, man, this week is going to be packed week. And I just keep adding things to my plate. I think I'm actually going to run down all the shit that I have going on a little bit later, and I'm talking podcast stuff too, because I've had questions lately from people like, what the hell, like you're doing so many things, I don't really know what you're doing, and I get that. So at some point in the podcast, I'm going to kind of just run everything down, what I got going on, what the plans are in the podcast, how you can find things. I understand it's sort of confusing, but I just keep adding things onto the plate, you know. I don't even want to say what project I'm going to do that I just started working on. I worked on it for like 3 hours last night. I don't want to say what it is yet, because I want to have it a little clearer, laid out, a little more ready to go before I drop it on you. So I don't want to say what I got going on. But boy, I just said, well, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to sit here writing for 3 hours last night, and then probably 2 to 3 hours the day before, planning all sorts of like shit with this new project with help from other people and things and fun, and that's a tease, I guess. That's the best way. That's all you're gonna get. But I have all these ideas and all these things, and I could say, well, I could do that later. Why would you want to do something like that when you got all these podcasts, you're dropping podcasts, you're adding podcasts? And the answer is, it's just fucking fun. Because here's what it is, and it just happened, bringing up the rock radar, it just happened to me yesterday, where, you know, I'm down here working. I'm working on Fresh Coast stuff. I do some stuff behind the scenes for Fresh Coast Beer Works, helping them run social media and booking entertainment. So I have a few different hats at Fresh Coast, as well as one of the bartenders and one of the bar managers there. And you know, I'm doing work with Fresh Coast down here, and I'm going to knock out some podcast things, and I'm working on the project that I just mentioned, so I got that to do. And I'm like, well, I got to go running, okay? Yesterday, I'm like, I got to run. Got to get going. But then I started wrapping up some loose ends on the rock radar, just finished putting that up, getting the first one out, and I said, well, I'm involved in this fucking project at this point, so I won't be running today. That's what I get. Look, I smoke a bowl, I sit down here with my coffee, and I just go. I get lost in what the fuck I'm doing. So when I say I'm having a great time doing this stuff, I have the time of my life down here just working on projects where I just forget to do any things. I'm like, well, I won't be running today. I think I'll just pour in, get an extra half a pot of coffee today and just go to town. I can't just work on like a project for a little bit at a time. When I'm working on a project, I kind of just have to sit down and do it until it's done. By and large, especially if it's like some sort of small project, I got to sit down. And I just won't get up. I'll be down here for 2 to 3 to 4 hours. I just get some fucking weird brain baby, and I say, oh, I'm going to do this. So the moral of this story is that I just volunteer for everything. I volunteer my time with my own things. I volunteer my time with other people's things. How did I volunteer this week? Oh, I volunteered to open the bar, Fresh Coast Beer Works, on Thanksgiving. I'm like, you know what? It would be fun. I'm like, Thanksgiving's awesome, but I like working a solo bar all day long. I know it sounds weird, but I'll be working. So I volunteered to work, and then I volunteered again. I do the Boland's Jewelry Holiday Parade that they do every Black Friday. at Bolin's Jewelry in Alpena, and it's super fun. And I'll be there again on Friday. Levi and I think, are going to go together. I might go solo if Levi has to work, because he might have to work. I'll stop at Fat Chicks Barbecue, repping Fat Chicks Barbecue in Atlanta, and they're sponsors, by the way. I should shout them out. Sponsor of the What the Hell Everything podcast. They're super cool. Destination Barbecue in the bustling metropolis of Atlanta. Now, I will say, so if you're watching this podcast the day, or listening the day it was released, then you gotta get the order in today, and the pickup is tomorrow. Today, the order is today, order placed today, and pick up tomorrow if you want an order. Thanksgiving dinner at Fat Chicks Barbecue, and it's legit, which is a whole turkey, minimum 20 pounds, 4-quart size sides. It consists of your choice of mac and cheese, baked beans, green bean casserole, or mashed redskins potatoes, and a sheet of cornbread, which is 30 pieces. It's all $150. Easily feeds 8 to 10 people. And again, get them in today. If you're watching this podcast the day it was released, get them in, pick up tomorrow, and hopefully take advantage of it. They only have one left. Oh, and they also sell their dry rubs that they use, which is awesome. You can you'll never be able to get it as good as Fat Chicks, ever. But you get it close. You know, you can get the flavor there a little bit. Their rubs are awesome, and they, I don't know how much they run, but, you know, Fat Chicks rubs. Fat Chicks love rubs. You go. Fat Chicks Barbecue. I was talking to Heather and Tim. I'll be seeing those guys on Friday when I go to Alpena. It'll be my lunch stop at Fat Chicks. I'm going to miss Tim again. I haven't even met Tim in person yet. I've been to his place once, Fat Chicks Barbecue. I met Heather, and they put on a total spread. But I was messaging those guys. I said, "Yeah, I'll be there Friday, guys, about 1 or 2 o'clock. You gonna be around?" Oh, Tim might not be there because he's going to Detroit the day prior, so we can go to the Lions game on Thanksgiving. And I'm just like, ugh. That's one thing, finding out after you sign the sponsorships, you know, in the business relationship, you're like, oh, this guy's a fucking Packer fan. And he's probably going to be wearing all sorts of Packer gear at the Lions game, just trying to rub it in. Just wear Fat Chicks shirt, you know? Just wear Fat Chicks shirt, Tim. Rep it at the Lions game. Rep Fat Chicks and denounce your Packer tendencies. It'll feel good. No, it won't. You want to say join the dark side? I'm not even going to talk about the Lions. There's no point in talking about the Lions anymore this year. They suck. They have no talent, but they're coming around. I know it sounds weird, but they're coming around. The team's got a philosophy. They just don't have the talent to back it up, and they're growing a philosophy. Oh, man, one sports thing I did want to talk about was the Isaiah Stewart thing. Pistons, Lakers, LeBron punched that dude in the fucking eye for one. First of all, on purpose, got suspended a game. I thought that looked like it was going to be another Malice at the Palace sort of thing. You know, like somebody needs to calm this fucking guy down. But I tell you what, I love it. I thought he took it way too far, 100%. You know, Isaiah Stewart going after LeBron, trying to get through everybody. I saw a fucking hilarious, like, this was the best thing on the internet the other day, by
There's
the way.
going to be a fight here! Oh, yeah! It's Stone Cold!
Yeah, I thought that was, shut the fuck up. I can only tolerate the sound of professional wrestling just a little bit, just a tiny bit. As much as I do hate wrestling, that was one of the best clips on the goddamn internet. The other day, Isaiah Stewart lost his mind, and I think he went after him and he like tried to chase him down in the fucking tunnel or something. But I love having the mentality of a team that will fuck your day up. You know, I grew up a Pistons fan, man. I grew up a Pistons fan, a bad boys for life. You know, where. Yeah, people hated Bill Laimbeer, but you wanted him on your team. They hated Rick Mahorn, but you wanted him on your team, you know? People don't like Isaiah Thomas because he's one of the best fucking point guards of all time. Yeah, whatever. That team fucked your day up, and people will talk shit, especially the people that love Jordan, and I think Jordan's the best player of all the amount of hate that the Pistons get for being like a dirty team or something like that, they just did the same thing that all the other teams were doing back then. Like if you watch the old Lakers Celtics documentary and just how rough and rumbly that series was, and all the teams back then in the 70s too, Pistons just did it better. They did some fucking mind games on you too, you know. And then you had Joe Dumars just draining threes. And the best defensive player of all time. One of the. Anyway, so I grew up a Pistons fan. Then Ben Wallace, you got to have an attitude with the team, sort of like the fucking Lions, man. I don't want to see a crazy brawl or anything stupid that's going to cost you games necessarily. But I like having that fuck you attitude, you know. Especially, I guess it's... Is it a Detroit thing? It's got to be to an extent. It's like Dan Campbell said famously, you got to... You know, bite kneecaps or some shit. Scratch, claw, anything you got to do to fucking win. And throw your weight around. You know, throw your weight around. Be a bully to an extent. And kick bullies' asses. So I loved seeing him go after LeBron, but at some point you just got to reel it in and say, all right, dude. I get it, you're upset. And he fucking had a gash on the eye. 2 games for that, by the way, for running after LeBron. He got a game though. Whatever. It was fun. It was I liked that because I don't think they won a lot of games, like 2 or 3. You know, 3-10 or 4-11 or something like that. Something gross. So they're not a good team. But it's little things like that. You got to get a little respect, you know. Man, I don't even know how much I want to talk shit about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but I'm probably going to quite a bit. Because man, what a terrible Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And it's even with the Foo Fighters being inducted. First of all, I'd loved to see at the very beginning, Carole King got inducted, and rightfully so. How the fuck she's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame already is crazy, just as a songwriter. But the fucking thing opened with Taylor Swift on stage, and it took me a little while to realize because she was doing a cover. Which one? Tonight you're mine completely. Will you love me tomorrow? So Taylor Swift was singing that song, and it was. Look, I'm pretty certain that Taylor Swift featured the only lip sync performance of that fucking night. I'm pretty sure she was lip syncing up there, and I'm just like, do you have the audacity? Carole King loved it though, you know, but it took me a while to realize that it was a Carole King song. I'm like, oh, she's covering Carole King, they're inducting Carole King, I get it. It took me a second. I'm like, why the fuck is Taylor Swift opening up this fucking... I think that put me off of it from the get-go, and it's a very narrow-minded point of view of mine, I'm sure, because there's some people that love Taylor Swift. I'm not one of those people. She probably is a nice person. Her music grates on my last fucking nerve, and I'm like, why is she there? But she did a very nice induction, because she did induct Carole King into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And then that was, honestly, even with the Foo Fighters, the Carole King induction might have been the best one. The first one and the best one of the night. And I wasn't even as off-put as I was by it because of the hip-hop inductions. Because LL Cool J was inducted. And then Jay-Z was inducted. And I guess... I've always put it like this, or put it like this historically with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, what is and isn't rock and roll? What should and shouldn't go in? I think there's a lot of stuff that you can put under the rock and roll umbrella. Even hip-hop up to a point. Even though it's pretty much a completely different form of music. Some country, up to some point, can be rock and roll. Some hip-hop, up to some point, can be rock and roll. Some jazz, up to some point, can be rock and roll. But at some point, it just takes on a completely different thing. Now, if you look at rock and roll as like pop, because for the longest time, rock and roll for fucking years was pop, you know. And then what is popular has changed. So if you look at rock and roll as like as a popular music sort of thing, Is it a form of music that you can decipher, with margins? It's outside of these margins, it's not this. Or is it like, is it like a vibe? And I tend to go with like the vibe because I smoke marijuana and sit down here and listen to a lot of fucking rock and roll. So the hip hop stuff didn't bother me. I appreciate LL Cool J. I appreciate Jay-Z. I listened to a lot more LL Cool J when I was younger than Jay-Z. I only know a couple songs, like 99 Problems. I know that. But I appreciate the impact that they've had on hip-hop. So it wasn't even that got to me. It was just like this overall sort of... They definitely dumb it down. Maybe too much production. Maybe it's just become like the Grammys, because that's what it fucking seemed like. Like the Foo Fighters montage that they do when they tell the Foo Fighters story, it just seemed like a throwaway. Like they just put bits in from the fucking Foo Fighters back and forth documentary, which told the story of the band, and then they just put in a couple of clips of this. And I gotta say, and I know it was probably Dave Grohl that wanted Paul McCartney to induct the Foo Fighters into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it's not. That's their decision. That's great for them. I was just like, man, this is the worst fucking induction speech I've ever seen in my life, and it's probably because Paul McCartney's fucking close to 80, and who knows if he's having cognitive decline, which is like an asshole thing to say of me. But I'm like, man, this is terrible. And then the Foo Fighters came out and did like a greatest hits set, and it was good. It was awesome. It was the Foo Fighters. But God, that whole production, I was just like, oh, Todd Rundgren. Maybe it was just so many artists that I didn't really care about. Could have been it. Because I did appreciate the fucking Go-Go's. I obviously love the Foo Fighters. One of my favorite bands of all time. And the Carole King thing. But by and large, like, Todd Rundgren was inducted, and I'm just like, the Bang the Gong song, that's the only thing I know. And it's just, I know there's so many artists that I've never appreciated, either because I've never given them the chance, or anytime I have given them the chance, they just didn't. Like Todd Rundgren, I've heard a few songs throughout my life. Again, Bang a Gong, I know that, but I just go, man, it's just not for me, man. So I watched the whole thing, but I was just off-put by it the whole time. And I don't know if it probably was just me. I didn't think I was in a bad mood, but again, as soon as Taylor Swift was on stage, I'm like, what the fuck? Maybe I take that shit too seriously. It's a real problem. But I will say, I'd rather take it seriously than have Machine Gun Kelly win Best Rock Artist. I think it was the AMAs last night or the night before. I didn't watch it. When I saw it go fucking on Facebook or something. MGK. All I know about that guy, I know he's a rapper. I've heard clips of a song and whatever. Again, it's not my thing. I know he beefed with Eminem. I know he played fuckface Tommy Lee in the terrible Motley Crue movie. That's really all I know about MGK. I'm also pretty fucking certain I think he did like a rock song or something. I don't know. But how the fuck? Because fans pick, and that's how. And that's how he got picked to be Best Rock Artist. Get the fuck out of here. It's reasons like that. That must be what happens to just people when they get older. When your parents say your music sucks and things, and then they start to listen to more mellow things, because that's what's happening to me right now. I hate the new music. I am reverting back to older and older and older and older music. And I'm just going to go away and walk the hills of Ireland and just listen to my old music. Just get away from all the kids. I'm just going to be walking the hills, old man, just avoiding people. It's funny to me. But the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was terrible. No one else was terrible. And it's part jokes, but, I mean, there's some truth to the joke I'm about to make. Everybody knows I'm a huge... Well, everybody that follows me for a long time knows I'm a gigantic Metallica nerd. But I am not above criticizing my favorite band. I don't want to say I think Metallica sold out. I'm going to make jokes about Metallica selling out. Because this part was true. when I got home from work the other night, I said, you know, I want to watch a movie. I haven't watched a new movie in a while. What's on? Let's check out Disney Plus. Oh, the movie Jungle Cruise, which looked like kind of a fun adventure movie on Disney Plus. Got The Rock Johnson in it. It's got super smoking hot Emily Blunt. I'm like, I'll watch that movie. And then I turned it on, and it's a Disney movie. And then opening credits started. I don't think it was the Metallica version. I think it was one of those newfangled covers from the Metallica Blacklist tribute album where all these fucking people, including Miley Cyrus, did Nothing Else Matters. And I'm pretty sure that was the one that opened the credits for Jungle Cruise, Metallica, but the Miley Cyrus version of Nothing Else.
So fucking what?
Just like, I can't wrap my head around this. I will never ever, like, let me just say, one of my favorite Metallica memories is when they did the European MTV Awards, and they were told not to swear. Don't swear, you guys, because Metallica, and specifically Hetfield, had a history of saying fuck on award ceremonies. So don't swear, Metallica. Oh, you're telling us not to swear? We're supposed to play like King Nothing or some fucking shit from the Load album, and they played, what was it? What did they play? They did two songs, the most vulgar, terrible songs of all time. They did what was the one? The Misfits. I got something to say. I killed your baby today. What the fuck is the name of that song? Last Caress. They played that. And then they played So What? So Fucking What? From Anti-Nowhere League. It was a cover tune. And it is easily the most vulgar song of all time. Talking about twats and go fuck yourself and old man fucks. It's horrible. But awesome. And they played that shit fucking live at the European MTV Awards. And everybody was just fucking horrified. And they were banned, I'm pretty sure, kind of, sort of, because MTV still fucking loved Metallica. Because they got them a fuck ton of views. But just like, oh, you're going to tell us not to swear? Well, watch this. And then your song gets played on the opening of a Disney movie. I was sitting there like this. I don't know if I like it. And I turned it off. And I posted on my personal Facebook page. Like, look, I might be able to warm up to this again at some point, but I'm not watching any Disney movie that has a fucking Metallica song in the opening credits. What's going on in this world? What the fuck's happening around here? What's next? Gonna be a fucking Full House. Gonna be playing Metallica when they have one of their special Full House moments. Fuck off. It would make me so upset. Irrationally so. I'll be the first one to admit that. Irrationally so. Oh, I had a first the other day. A first as a non-smoker, because I just hit my 1 year as a non-smoker. But I did have my first opportunity to say, sorry, I'm not a smoker. I just walked outside of the pub the other day, and sure as shit, oh, there was a parade going on. That's why there was a bunch of people downtown for the Christmas parade in Traverse City. So I just went outside to kind of look around, see the people, see how people mulling about, if there might be people coming in the bar. Some guy walks up, hey man, you got a lighter? And I just, sorry, I don't smoke. No man, I'm a non-smoker. And I was just like, wow. Got the chance to say that for the first time ever. It didn't feel nearly as insufferable as I thought it would say, because I always just thought it would sound something like, sorry, I'm a non-smoker. Just sound all fucking bitchy. Because that's always how I heard it. Sorry, I'm not a smoker like you. So that was nice. God, there's a lot of firsts, you know, firsts. Have I had my first non-smoking road trip? Yeah, I feel like I have, yeah. Had my first non-smoking road trip. That's out of the way. You know, that was the worst. Road tripping. Driving. Used to smoke so many fucking cigarettes. No, I don't have to. The money thing can't be understated enough. Overstated. Is it understated or overstated? One of those fucking states. All right, let me break all the podcasts down for you. If you're interested in finding out about more podcasts and what I'm doing, first of all, the Facebook page, Smitty. Look for Hungover Smitty or Smitty on the radio. I can't even remember what the fuck it is now. We Three Smiths. Check that Facebook page out. Essentially, We Three Smiths is my production company. That is the production company that I created to throw out any content I want, whenever I want to do it. My whole goal was to have my own podcast studio, and at some point, I would like it to be successful enough where I can hire somebody else to do some technical stuff, maybe hire somebody else to do in front of the camera stuff, maybe have other people's podcasts on. So I really want to grow it into a successful business. I am trying to grow it into a successful business. That's goal number one. First of all, let me just start with the Smitty Learns Irish podcast in 2026. That's my bucket list goal, where I hike Ireland for a year, where I stop into pubs and do podcast interview style with regulars and pub owners and town know-it-alls, you know what I mean? Learning about town history, thus learning about Irish history. It's going to be a super fun, bucket list, engaging conversation, fun, hopefully, podcast, again, 2026. So that needs to get fundraised. Patreon.com/we3smiths. All sorts of extras on Patreon that I'm working on. The extra content currently on Patreon to fund the Smitty Learns Irish podcast. Current projects on Patreon. I have the Sunday morning talk practice, which is probably every other Sunday, starting around 9 a.m., and I go live for it could be a half an hour, could be an hour or two, who knows, but it's practice, and that's literally, and it's helped me so much kind of do the things I want to do. The practice has helped. Sometimes it's the best podcast, and sometimes it's the worst podcast because I just hit train wrecks every once in a while. But that's why it's called practice. Live streams every other Sunday on patreon.com/we3smiths. Also on Patreon, video editions of the Rock and Roll Roundtable podcast, which is coming back. Album review podcast I do with December Lee and Michael Stevens. Those are coming back audio on Spotify. Those are super fun to do. We give each other homework assignments. We listen to each other's favorite rock bands and albums, and then we review them. Coming up season 2, we will have guest reviewers on as well. So again, video at Patreon, audio on Spotify. Smitty's Rock Radar on Patreon as well. Now, that's just starting. I've been kicking around that idea for a while, kind of finally figured out how I want to do it. Smitty's Rock Radar, patrons get exclusive access to requests. You give me a band that nobody knows about, that's your favorite band that nobody knows about. You give me 2 songs from that band. I'll listen to one. If I don't like... I'll listen to one. If I don't like it, I won't listen to another one. If I dig it, I'll listen to the second one if they get on my radar, and those will be reaction videos on YouTube as well. Early access to those on Patreon as well. And I'm going to be adding polls and all sorts of stuff to Patreon as it grows and as I kind of figure out the things I want to do. So you're in on the ground floor at Patreon. All right, first of all, the What the Hell Everything podcast. That's my baby. That's the one that I'm trying to get going. I love the solo talk. That's where hopefully the talk practice pays off. I love the ability to just kind of go, to riff, to flow. So once a week, I do a produced podcast that goes up on YouTube, and it's usually just me. Or if I have a guest and I want to do an hour-long chat with some solo stuff, I do that. I do have live What the Hell Everything podcast on YouTube and or Facebook. Also, more. And then usually anything that involves just shooting the breeze with people, that's What the Hell Everything. The What the Hell Everything podcasts are the ones I'm really trying to hit, you know. It's sort of rambly, it's sort of ranty, it's hopefully funny, and hopefully it's, you know, I know I have a tendency to ramble, but hopefully it's engaging. That's what I'm going for. And then, other things I'm doing, and now I'm not only doing traditional podcasts necessarily, I love the idea of doing like productions, audio productions. Did Smitty's Christmas Carol a couple years ago. I'm going to re-air that. When I say re-air that, clearly I'm not on the radio anymore. I'm going to re-present that this Christmas Eve some way, somehow on the internet. It's going to be really fun. Audio productions, I'm a big fan of stuff like that. So that stuff's always happening. I'm always just having little ideas, always feeling creative. So, if you have questions, please message me. If you like what I'm doing, please comment. Please share if you dig it. If you think you see something you like, maybe recommend it to any of your podcast friends. So that's what I'm doing. I feel like I'm missing some, but I also feel like I'm hitting a groove. I know it's a lot, and I know it's a lot to sift through. But if you like the content, hopefully if you go to YouTube, I'm trying to make those a little more easy to sift through and find what you want. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing, you guys. I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate you taking a look and considering to become a patron for only $3 a month. Patreon.com/we3smiths. You have a wonderful rest of your day, and until next time.
So long, sucker.
Good night, everybody!
I am so sorry for everything that has happened.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, all right, I'll see you guys there.
By the bar and get your face, huh? Get me paid, bitch!
Sit, boo-boo, sit. Good dog.
I love y'all very much. Peace out!
Good night, ladies.
What the hell? Everything!